Pronidar or Pronoundar, every pony. This is BronyDan. It's not original, but hey, you try coming up with reality these days. Well, when I asked you guys what other stuff do you want to see me do on my channel, somebody requested that I take a look at more episodes of Steven Universe. Admittedly, it's a little bit pointless at this point, considering that there are only 2 episodes left. But hey, I'm willing to stay relevant. Which is why I review movies and TV shows that were made before I was born. I think I need to broaden my interests a bit. Well, I'm willing to give my 2 cents on this, so let's take a look at the last 2 episodes of Steven Universe. So we have this week's episode, Room for Ruby, and honestly, I'm sort of split on it. Let me try and explain. So in this episode we have one of the Rubies, whom Steven nicknamed Navy, crash landing back on Earth and wanting to stay with Steven and the gems. So Steven takes it upon himself to try and teach Navy, with the help of Peridot and Lapis Lazuli, the ways of Earth. First let's talk about Navy, and I know I'm going to be in the minority on this, like the 0.01% minority on this, but she's a little bit annoying. Now, I didn't hate her in any way. I mean, she is cute and curious, but it was often her voice. In some parts, it just sounds really off for me. I don't know whether it was the inflection or the pitch, but it just didn't feel natural.
I love pumpkin!
But you could say how that was all just a cover-up for her inevitable betrayal. Yeah, I didn't think I'm spoiling anything when I say that. The pacing was kind of obvious where it was going. However, it does paint a different picture of how we've seen the Rubies. We've always assumed that Rubies were just the grunts of the gem homeworld and not being all that intelligent, but Navy's deception makes you think that perhaps they're much smarter than we thought.
This whole time, all you wanted was your ship? You could have just stolen it to begin with! I could have done that, but then I would never have gone to see the look on her face when you were tricked by your favorite little Ruby!
And then Garnet then suddenly smashes Steven's television and she doesn't know why. But what's surprising about this episode is that it's less about Navy and more about Lapis Lazuli. Lapis is quite a complex character and people can't seem to make up their minds on whether they like her or not. But personally, I think this is her best appearance. She's naturally skeptical of how Navy is so willing to just accept life on Earth so easily when it's taken her months and maybe even years. Hell, she still feels a little bit insecure now.
Why is it so easy for her when it was so hard for me?
You know, I could sort of identify with Lapis in this episode. I mean, I do a lot of different activities, whether it is performing, art, or even doing these type of videos. And whenever I see other people who can pick these things up so quickly and they get noticed for it, I do sort of end up thinking if what I'm doing is not worth it half the time. Now, that doesn't mean I resent those people, because I do see and appreciate the hard work that they do put into it. But if you want to improve and yet feel insecure, then it is difficult to go out and make that extra effort. Yeah, sorry for the rather depressing part there, but let's move on to the big negativity for this episode, which is the Crystal Gems reaction. And how there isn't one! Okay, so you have a Ruby that you tricked several times arriving back on Earth, and you just leave Steven to deal with it. I'm sorry, but this should be a cause for concern, especially since the gems don't seem to be all that wary of the fact that Homeworld now knows that the Earth hasn't been destroyed since they've come back. And after you bumped into the Rubies on your way to the zoo and said,
"We should really do something about them."
We can pick them up on the way back. Dad comes first.
Nah, let's just leave those potential threats floating around. I mean, it's not like Homeworld is gonna come down to Earth because Blue Diamond wants more humans for the zoo and possibly find them, pick them up, and then discover what we've been doing. I mean, from what we've heard in Rocknaldo, it's been over a month since the Stephen bomb, but they haven't done anything to prepare themselves for the upcoming threat, and now that Navy has taken the ship back, what's the only response?
It was still worth a shot.
No, worth a shot would have been actually going up there and bubbling them so that we won't be as fucked as we already are. Overall, for me, this episode is mixed. It is nice to see that Lapis is getting some character development, and Navy might have been annoying, but at least it was for a purpose. However, because of the fact that this is the first time since the Stephen bomb that we're addressing the possible threat, and how really there doesn't seem to be any kind of concern, makes me wonder if there really is any point to it. Maybe it's just nitpicking, but since Steven Universe has often been so good with its continuity up to this point, this just feels like the end result isn't going to be all that spectacular. Hopefully the next and last episode doesn't have us walking out with a grumble. Well, this is BronyDan saying, Nostar.